What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Everything Octagon. I wasn't going to do predictions for UFC Vegas 90. I was going to start working on all my predictions for UFC 300 and start getting ready for that. It's been a busy week. We had a big old snowstorm outside up here in New England, and then I hit 100 subscribers, had to shave my beard, and I figured, yeah, you guys got me to 100. I got to at least get out a quick picks for UFC Vegas 90 for you guys. So here I am putting in that work, doing the main card for UFC Vegas 90, all 6 fights on the main card. We're just going real quick through them. I haven't had much time for to watch any tape and to study, but I do know a lot of these fighters. So I'm just going to be doing a kind of a half-assed version of my breakdowns and just run through these 6 fights real quick. So at least when I'm watching the fights, I kind of have, it makes it a little funner for me when I watch the fights, when I put in predictions. Makes me more emotionally invested in some of these fights when I do a prediction for some reason. It just makes it that much funner. So we're going to fly through 155-pound division. First fight on the main card is going to be Trevor Peek versus Charlie Campbell. Now, both these guys come off of Contender Series. Charlie Campbell was on Contender Series, but he did not win his Contender fight. He actually, I believe he got starched by Chris Duncan in the Contender, and then he went on to win a fight in a lower organization, and now he is making his UFC debut. So against Trevor Peek. Now, Trevor Peek, he's not the greatest, most fanciest fighter, but my favorite thing about Trevor Peek is that he is a fighter. He comes right out and fights. He risks it. He takes risks, and he tries to knock you out. So I'm really pulling for Trevor Peek. He is the underdog by quite a bit. Charlie Campbell's a negative 225 favorite. So the odds makers really think Charlie Campbell's going to come in here and dust Trevor Peek. But just for fun, I'm going with the underdog. I'm rooting for Trevor Peek Saturday night. So it should be a stand-up fight. Pretty good little battle. Can go either way. I think Charlie Campbell's going to be the more technical fighter, more variety, stuff like that. Probably going to really be putting it on Trevor Peek. But Trevor Peek gets hurt, and he searches for a knockout, and I'm hoping he gets it. So we're going to go with Trevor Peek by TKO. I'm going to say second round on that. So, but yeah, moving on. Heavyweight division, Lucas Brzeski versus Valter Walker. Guys, if you don't know Valter Walker, you're about to. I watched a few of his fights. He looks pretty nasty, but the thing with him is he is Johnny Walker's heavyweight brother. So Johnny Walker, light heavyweight standout. I mean, if you don't know Johnny Walker, then you don't watch enough UFC. So it's going to be the heavyweight brother of Johnny Walker, and I'm really interested to see this. He's 11-0. A lot of knockouts, a lot of, pretty good decisions and stuff, but they're really feeding Lucas Brzeski to Valter Walker. Lucas Brzeski is on a 3-fight losing streak. He has not won a fight in the UFC since coming off of the Contender Series. I think Walker's going to run right through him first round, in my opinion. So we're going to go Valter Walker by KO. And then going on into the light heavyweight division, we got Ignacio Bahamondes versus Christos Giagos. Guys, Ignacio Bahamondes, when I saw him on Contender Series, I was like, oh, wow, this boy can fight. He's really good on his feet, really good with his reach and his distance. He had a fight with, oh, shit, who was it? God. Maybe it was Roosevelt Roberts, I think. I'm not sure, though. But anyway, in that fight, he was stuffing takedowns left and right to the point where he tired out his opponent and got a spinning wheel kick on him. So he's got good stuffs. He's got good wrestling defense and great striking. I think that I think he take Christos Giagos out by decision. I think you're going to see 3 rounds of Ignacio Bahamondes just putting it on Christos Giagos. Giagos is probably going to get desperate, try to get this fight to the ground. I'm hoping Ignacio Bahamondes' wrestling defense holds up and he can keep this a stand-up fight, and we see a nice little technical battle on the feet with these two boys. But as far as my prediction goes, I'm going to have to go Bahamondes by decision on this. Probably on all 3 judges' scorecards. Unanimous decision. Moving on to featherweight division, Morgan Cherriere versus Chepe Mariscal. I'm not sure how this fight's going to go. It could go either way. The odds are pretty close. They do favor Morgan Cherriere out of France. He's got some really good stand-up. His last fight, he was smashing some really hard body kicks on his opponent, folding him right in half. I believe he got the TKO. It might have been a decision, but, you know, it could have been an easy TKO. But it could go either way. I'm going to have to go with Cherriere Mariscal on this one. I like going with the underdog. He's not a big underdog. It's pretty much even, but I'm rooting for him. I saw his interview, and he looked pretty game, like he's ready, really focused in the media day, you know, interviews and stuff. So let's go Cherriere Mariscal by decision. I think that you're going to see a hell of a little featherweight battle here for 3 rounds, both guys trying to figure each other out, and I think that it's going to come down to who wants it more, and it looks to me like Cherriere Mariscal wants it more. So let's go Cherriere by decision. Moving on to the co-main event in the featherweight division, we got Alexander Hernandez versus Damon Jackson. I'm not sure. They're both coming off a loss here, guys. Alexander Hernandez, he kind of stood out to me when he first come about, but he's had a downfall here. He's gotten beat by, you know, less than great fighters. I don't know. He's a negative 200 favorite. Maybe that's because Damon Jackson hasn't, you know, he's coming off a loss as well, and if he doesn't submit you, then he's probably not going to beat you. So yeah, I think the odds makers believe Alexander Hernandez can edge out a decision here. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm going to go Damon Jackson by submission. I'm hoping I've seen Alexander Hernandez make some pretty shitty choices in the octagon. I've seen him gas out, and I think that if Damon Jackson plays his cards right, he could get the neck of Alexander Hernandez. So just for the hell of it, I'm going to go Damon Jackson by submission. And now the main event. We got middleweights Brendan Allen versus Chris Curtis. Now, guys, these two have already fought before. Chris Curtis did win the first fight by knockout, but Brendan Allen was winning the entire fight. Like almost every inch of that fight, Brendan Allen was schooling Chris Curtis, and Chris Curtis ends up getting him against the cage and lands some pretty big bombs, and that's fighting. Brendan Allen goes down in the first fight. Brendan Allen's only losses in the UFC are by Chris Curtis and his training partner, Sean Strickland. So he's got knocked out by both of those guys. Other than that, his record is pretty clean. He's getting a second chance at Chris Curtis here. He's on a 7-fight win streak, guys. Since he lost to Chris Curtis, he says it's a fluke loss. I believe him. I think he's the better fighter. I like Chris Curtis a lot. I like the way he fights. I like his personality and all that. But I think that Brendan Allen's going to get redemption here. You might even see a third fight in the future if Allen wins this. But he is a negative 200 favorite on DraftKings. So that tells you a lot. Chris Curtis has had kind of a rocky, some rocky fights since beating Allen. But he lost a unanimous decision to Gastelum and a unanimous decision to Jack Hermanson. But he's really 41 fights, and Chris Curtis has not really been finished. So predicting how this is gonna end is really the challenging part. I do think that Brendan Allen wins this one, but I don't think he can finish Chris Curtis. I think that he needs to keep himself safe from getting knocked out and catching one of them big old Curtis bombs. But other than that, I do think that he's going to be the better fighter. And over the course of 5 rounds, both guys can fight 5 rounds, don't get me wrong. If anyone was to tire out, or lose focus in the fight, it will be Brendan Allen. But he looks like a much more focused Brendan Allen than we've ever seen. So I think he comes out here and puts on a show. I think he comes out and shows Chris Curtis that the last fight was a fluke. He could get the rear naked choke, but I doubt it. The big old neck and traps of Chris Curtis probably won't allow that. But I think that he edges out the decision. I think he gets the decision on at least 2 judges' scorecards. We're probably going to see a pretty close fight because they fought before, and usually guys get used to each other and they get the timing down and they start, they get back in there the second fight and it all just comes back to them from the first fight. So I think we're going to see a pretty even battle here, but I think Allen takes it on the judges' scorecards by decision. So, that's that. We're going to wrap it up for today. I got a bunch of UFC 300 fights I'm working on. I want to do every fight on the card, have its own video, and do a really good job with those predictions. So that's it for now. Please like, subscribe, share, and thanks for watching my content, guys.